And that's not part of our discussion. Always compartmentalizing information. Because he can't talk about it. None of them can. They can't even say you're kooks anymore. Because they know folks will go read the studies. He can't deny and say Bilderberg doesn't exist anymore. That his uncle, David Rockefeller, was instrumental in founding with Prince Bernhard and was at the first meeting. And he can't deny eugenics. They say your family set it up and was Hitler's inspiration. Hitler wrote in Mein Kampf thanking the groups he founded. His great-grandfather founded. His grandfather founded. His father founded. I mean, this family is behind it all. This is the cancer research, the putting the cancer viruses in the vaccines. I mean, these are the guys. These are sick, sick, wicked, wicked people. You notice he looks at them like, oh, my God, here are slaves that can see. And see, more and more, they can't just brush us off as kooks. They know more and more of us. When he sees 30, 40 people there to confront him, he knows that represents thousands per person. They're realizing, oh, my God, they're on to us. Now, remember, and I meant to print this up this morning, but you can go look it up. Rockefeller-funded massacres in New Jersey and Colorado and all over with Pinkerton Security. Famous case where they killed a whole bunch of people in Colorado. They own the land, the gold mine. They sent in men on horseback, burnt down the whole camp, rode down 4-year-olds, with horses, shot them in the back. And that was in the last century. That was in the early 20th century. Famous cases of Rockefeller-funded strikebreakers, Gatling gunning protesters. And then they got in trouble, so they went into this philanthropic mode. They set up NPR radio, PBS TV, everything. I mean, these are the guys. So let's cut back to this monster.
Your family starting the modern eugenics movement?
Let's call it nutrition.
Started eugenics. Hitler looked up to the eugenics that your family has started.
Okay, sir.
I think it's time for me to really start moving quickly.
Yeah.
You could just address some of these things. If we're wrong, sir, please just tell us. No, go find somebody else to talk to.
But your family did start the modern eugenics movement that Hitler is looking up to. And you don't want to talk about the Bilderberg group? But what about the
Bilderberg group? She got a lot of balls.
Eugenics as well.
The truth is coming out, and there's a lot of us that are aware of it.
I'm sure you know some members, sir, if you're not a member yourself.
President Obama's Director of National Intelligence, Admiral Blair, who I greatly respect, have labeled cybersecurity perpetrated through the Internet as the #1 national hazard of attack on the homeland in West Virginia, in America, or anywhere else. So, I mean, it really almost makes you ask the question, would it have been better if we never invented the Internet?
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Jay Rockefeller on the dais, on the bench, talking about better off not ever having the Internet. He's trying to pass bills right now to restrict free speech in America. Now, I want to shift gears. We're now going to cover the story of the missing flesh-eating Pentagon robot story. This story from Fox News and similar headlines were all over other news publications on July 14th, 15th, and 16th. This printout is from July 15, 2009. Upcoming military robot could feed on dead bodies. There it is for you on screen. Luckily, we had printed out several copies of this, but you cannot find this article and the few other news agencies that went with the same or similar headlines. Also have removed the headline and replaced it with things like this. Biomass-eating military robot is a vegetarian, company says. So when you go to the link of where this story was, upcoming military robot could feed on dead bodies, you get the story that the flesh-eating robot is actually a vegetarian, say inventors. Now, let's go ahead and read the Fox News story, the original one. Now, in media, they're supposed to correct the original story but never pull it. So this is a new memory hole system for Fox News to simply completely trash the old article and replace it with the one on your screen that's up there today. Upcoming military robot could feed on dead bodies. It could be a combination of 19th century mechanics, 21st century technology, and 20th century horror movie. A Maryland company under contract to the Pentagon is working on a steam-powered robot. See, old technology is really good technology that would fuel itself by grabbing up whatever organic material it can find, grass, wood, old furniture, even dead bodies. Robotic Technologies, Inc.'s energetically autonomous tactical robot, that's right, EATER is what it stands for, can find, ingest, and extract energy from biomass in the environment and other organically based energy sources, as well as use conventional and alternative fuels such as gasoline, heavy fuel, kerosene, diesel, propane, coal, cooking oil, and solar when suitable, reads the company's website. That biomass and other organically based energy sources wouldn't necessarily be limited to plant material. Animal and human corpses contain plenty of energy, and they'd be plentiful in a war zone. EATER will be powered by the waste heat energy developed Cyclone Power technology out of Florida, which uses an external combustion chamber burning up fuel to heat up water in closed-loop engineering electricity. Yeah, water power is great. That's what nuclear power plants do. They boil the water with the nuke rods and then power things. It's a great system. The advantages of the military are the robot could be extremely flexible in fuel sources and could roam on its own for months, even years, without having to be refueled or serviced. See, roam for months. Perfect. Upon the EATER platform, the Pentagon could build all sorts of things: a transport, an ambulance, a communications event center, even a mobile gunship. In press materials, Robotic Technology presents EATER as an essentially benign artificial creature that fills its belly with foraging, despite the obvious military purpose. Okay, but the issue is, regardless of whether they're designed to eat human flesh or not on the battlefield, or animal flesh or whatever, they are out designed to kill. And let's show folks some of the images of the EATERs. Now, these are the declassified robots. I've talked to Marine Corps armorers and others in development. They say they can't get into it, but yes, it's much more advanced. Just like they'd had it for 25 years, the B-2 bomber, and they rolled it out in '87. So they'd had it since the late 60s. And they already have had swords. In fact, Google that, swords, used in Fallujah with machine guns and grenade launchers, and they admit they plan to use these against the citizenry. And that's why the globalists want these systems, because they can have robotic aircraft, robotic drones, robotic predators, robotic reapers, AI systems, AI combat robots that will kill and can be delivered by robotic troop ships themselves or robotically dropped with parachutes, and then the elite can launch whole military operations without having to have troops follow the orders. Like a General Fox Fallon says no to Bush on attacking Iran, they can launch drone attacks on Iran. Skynet is not something out of the movie Terminator. The Pentagon has called the system Skynet. We'll be right back.
Weight 245, kind of broad.
I remember when I first got on the air 13, 14 years ago, people sending me documents and books and materials about Patton being murdered. And now they've got government documents. They've got proof. If you Google General Patton murdered by CIA, you get the Sunday Express, you get the London Telegraph, you get mainstream news. And the guy that really ferreted out all these latest documents to prove this and why they did it joins us now, Robert Wilcox, author of Target Patton, The Plot to Assassinate General George Patton. Since he was on earlier in the year, I think it was January, it's now gotten a lot of attention. And people say, well, this happened 60 years ago. Why does it matter? It shows you who runs our government, who runs our country, and for police and military out there to know that all of you are expendable too. And the people running our nation wrap themselves in the flag. Patton didn't want to give Germany to the Soviets. He didn't like putting millions of Germans in camps, or, more importantly, U.S. troops, this is on record, that were grabbed out of Germans' prisoner of war camps, and tens of thousands, and the U.S. military just said, keep them. Yeah, Joe, they're a present to you. That's what they think of you. So this is on record. And so to recap what happened to Patton, the documents, what's coming out, what the family's saying, and where this is going, is the author of Target Patton, Robert Wilcox. Robert, good to have you on with us today.
Hey, Alex, thanks for having me back.
You bet. It's a quick segment now, long segment coming up. But, I mean, tell folks in a nutshell about the book and the aftermath of these documents and materials coming out now.
Well, Patton, I think I could go before a grand jury and get an indictment. But, you know, talk motive first. He wanted to fight the Russians. He was livid, like you said, about all of the POWs that were left there. He just didn't think it was right that we should liberate from the Nazis and then give it to the Russians. And he also knew secrets that would have taken down some of the great potentates of our lives. Eisenhower, for instance, a great diplomat, but a terrible war fighter. The war could have been over maybe in September.